It's getting cold already. We're now on October. Deepen your compassion this October. Let's talk about love. A different kind of love. Do you remember giving love to yourself? Are you allowing yourself to be seen and heard for what you truly are? Do you choose to give love freely and share it generously with others? Every day, try to take it a step further by reaching out and extending an act of sympathy to those who test your patience, to those who might not deserve it, and to those who cannot return the favor, such as animals and natural resources. Know that your love is too good not to share. It will lift others up and bear countless fruits when you least expect it. Fill your heart with good deeds. For every puzzle piece, jot down the name of the person or group that you showed kindness to this month. That's it! We hope this was helpful, and let's all give love by deepening our compassion to others, and of course, to ourselves.
In the mountainous region of northern Luzon, you will find the rice terraces of Ifugao. Rice terraces are popular among tourists because of its unique and intricate composition. These terraces were hand-carved by the indigenous people in the region hundreds of years ago. But modernization has threatened the centuries-old Ifugao rice culture and traditions. This is why Kandama was founded. Kandama is a social enterprise founded by Victor Bagilat Jr., who wishes to inspire synergy among master weavers, modern designers, and indigenous artisans. It aspires to keep the Ifugao weaving traditions alive while empowering the women in the community. One way of ensuring that the Ifugao natives will continue preserving their traditions and the terraces that sustain them is by expanding the Kandama market.
My business strategy was to continue tapping the local Ifugao women as the weavers. With my supervision, I helped them come up with innovative product design and diversification, while I am in charge of the product branding and niche marketing. Like most startup businessmen, I experienced using my own life savings to fund weaving workshops and pay for the weavers and weaving threads. For almost a year, I was able to sustain the business expenses, but went to a point that I had to borrow money from my parents. I'm planning to expand Kandama to have the woven fabrics into modern pieces, but I need extra funds to make this happen. With the additional funds from my personal loan, Kandama was able to continue to provide more weaving workshops and expand the weaving center in Ifugao. Additional opportunities opened for Kandama because of the business expansion. We caught the attention of international buyers, and we are already planning for the official market launch of Kandama by hosting a fashion show in Manila featuring the Kandama modernized woven pieces.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's the third Wednesday of the month, and we are live in BDJ Facebook pages, Kandama, The Bell Tribe, BDJ Plan With Me. You got this, and in our YouTube. So it's the third Wednesday of the month, and that means you're watching the BDJ Studio Learning Series with Kandama, a high fashion brand and social enterprise that aims to save the weave. So, guys, I see there's people watching us, and then please share where you're watching us from. Hello, Iris. And I think there's others here. Just say hi and share where you're watching us from so that we can like greet you. So, ayan, nag-change kami ng color scheme. Ayan, in this series, we're talking about the third Wednesday of the month is when we talk about how to turn your passion into action. Kasi yung first Wednesday of the month, it's more or less just checking in terms of what's your game plan for the month. Kasi syempre, whether you have like parang, di ba, nagugulo naman talaga yung plans natin month on month right? Or even week on week, right? So, definitely this is something that we do to check in. So that's the first Wednesday of the month. The second Wednesday of the month is us trying to get a bit of courage. So living boldly. And then the third Wednesday of the month, tayo naman, we're talking about passion into action. Kasi no plans will happen or become our part of reality if we don't take action. So we want to make sure we want to give you the inspiration and the tips you need to so you can take action and chase after your dreams and create lives that are full of joy and love. So ayan guys, don't forget, ayan, we'll greet a bit more people like si Trace from Mahati, si Sai, hello. Dinner tayo, Monggo Fish and Lumpia. Sige, thank you. May mamaya pa ako makakapag-dinner after our live. Si Aiza from Mandaluyong, ayan. Sabi nga ni Aiza, masarap yung munggo and fish lumpia. Actually, pag sinasabi mong fish lumpia, naglalaway yung mouth ko. Pero yung iniisip ko, ano, toyo. Nag-crave today. Si Irish watching from Manila. So, ayan guys, let's not forget that we have a giveaway every Wednesday. So, the giveaway tonight is as usual, we're giving away an essentials notebook. So, to qualify, you sign up at go.bdj.studio/sign up and comment with your takeaway from tonight's live. So, nandiyan yung link natin. And, ayan don't forget the link para copy and paste yun na, para i-ready. Ready na yung ready na kayo. So I'll bring my partner and co-host for tonight's series. Let's bring in Vic, the owner
Hello.
founder of Kandama. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Naku, 1 month na naman. And it's October, and then we're just a couple of days away from December, gift giving month, our favorite month of the year. So how are
Yes.
things?
Well, it's been crazy. It's our peak season already, but so it's been a bit hectic. Personally, I've been going to the office siguro magti 3 weeks na kasi I just need to make sure that everything's going according to plan. And then I think I'm very happy that parang nakaka-catch up din kami in terms of operations, in terms of like our orders.
Yeah,
Meron lang minsan some orders na naiiwan just because of parang certain kulang yung information that we still have to keep in touch with the customers, but more or less we're
yeah.
on track, as in ship out na namin yung orders ng kahapon today, parang ganon.
It's nice.
So
It's nice na busy. I mean, it's a good problem to have in this day
yes,
and
yes.
age.
Yes, definitely. And definitely parang it's really 'di ba bumaba na rin yung COVID, and then bumaba na rin yung alert levels in the Metro Manila. So hopefully things will open up a bit more for all of us who have businesses, and then eventually will trickle down to everyone around us.
Mhm.
Ayan.
But
Ikaw, kamusta? Sorry.
I'm doing
Daldal.
well. I'm doing well. I'm teaching now in DLSU and in FEU. Um, so your planner, the
Yay!
BDJ planner, the focus planner, has been very helpful. Iba kasi pag sinusulat mo rin talaga, the lesson plan, what happened for that, like for that day, and kailan isa-submit yung mga assignments and everything. It's for me like this works. Because I don't know, I'm a writing kind of person. So yeah. I just wanted to say then kanina Darna, I know hopefully like people, despite the fact that we're opening up, people wouldn't let their guards down. Because it's also possible na, like the numbers are going down in terms of COVID, people who are infected with COVID because the testing is also going down or something. So yeah,
Correct,
let's
correct.
still be very, very careful. Wear your
Yes.
mask, everyone.
Let's be vigilant. I totally agree. And again, parang I think I had a conversation with fellow entrepreneurs early today na parang yun nga, even if technically yun nga, bumaba na yung numbers natin, it's actually still higher versus our peak last year.
Mhm.
And then at the same time, of course, nagkakaroon na naman tayo ng parang nade-desensitize na tayo sa mga pangyayari. Sa sobrang dami lang. So hopefully parang we're still very conscious about like the masks. The past 2 weeks, I've seen a lot of people in my feed again. Despite na pababa siya, parang ang dami na namang condolences in my feed. So,
Yeah.
wala eh. Parang nag-up and down, no? Ganun eh. So,
Hopefully
wala.
things will get better.
Yeah, part of our reality, guys, but we're not here to like talk about medyo ano, serious mode tayo. But actually tonight we're very excited because our special guest tonight is Angela Lagunzad, a radio broadcaster, a TV commercial model, and a co-anchor for UNTV. Ito ang balita evening newscast. She's a documentarist for the rights of the PWDs and VAWC, Violence Against Women Co- Commission, tama ba? And as a nominee for the Women of the Future 2020. More popularly known as Angel, tama. Traffic Angel, Angela specializes in traffic reports for the radio. She also writes on-air content for the weather and entertainment news, so her involvement in modeling led her to also pursue fashion styling at the pioneering School of Fashion and the Arts. So we can see Angela's modeling career in endorsements for several local and foreign air TV commercials. And she also has walked the runway for John Rufo Couture in Ultravia's Unmasked, a fashion campaign for violence against women and their children. Yon. Mali pala
Yeah.
yung C ko kanina. And with that, let us bring in our special guest tonight. Angela, come on
Angela,
in.
hello.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
Thank you. I know you just came from your show.
Yes.
So thank you
Just
for making
finished
time
our
for
recording yesterday.
us.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Oh,
that
yeah.
sounds
Okay.
good.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to meet you, Dar, and of course, syempre, hi, Victor.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know that
That's
John
quite an
Rufo
introduction.
was
Yeah,
one of
I
our
know.
collaborators before? Yeah, he's a
Ah,
friend.
really? Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's
Small
nice to
world.
know that you actually worked for John pala before. Great.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So work from home
That was
kayo.
long time ago.
That was a long time.
Long time ago. Yeah.
You
Younger
guys are
days.
working from home too, like for your broadcasts and everything.
Yes, work from home since the pandemic started. And I'm really blessed to have a boss like Kuya Daniel because it's really challenging outside, But, yeah, we managed to do it naman from home. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had some adjustments now.
So how are you in general? How's life?
I'm okay.
How's Angela?
I'm okay. I'm doing news, diba? Every day. I do morning show as well. That's weekday, and then I have a documentary program on Saturday. So, we also opened a family online business, which is about charcuteries and gift boxes and jams, which I sent you
Yes,
before,
yes.
Vic. Yeah, and I'll send some to you also, Darha. And
Wow.
yeah, since we have we have more time, especially last year, no, we had enough time to create this business with family. Yeah, what else? Yeah, so mostly busy with work and of course, parenting as well, because I have a
Yeah.
teenager
Oh,
right now, a boy.
Dar, you have to see Angela's son, super guapo. Yeah. So how did
Nice.
you get
Thank you.
how
Yeah.
did you get into broadcast journalism? Because we know like you're doing so many things. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but what was the story
What's
behind you and like being in broadcast journalism?
Yeah, it's actually simple. The introduction was, that was long time ago. Siguro almost 10 years ago yung mga modeling and mga traffic reporting. But right now, I'm really focused on news, gathering news and my documentary. But yeah, the story behind it is actually simple. It was really my passion I had since I was a kid. And my mom would tell me, alam niyo ba, that I would use a brush and pretend that I was reporting. I don't remember that anymore, but my mom would tell me. No? So, but yeah, it was something I've always wanted to do, and it was a passion since as long as I can remember. So since then, I relentlessly pursued it. So I started as a traffic reporter, as you mentioned earlier, in traffic.com, and then I auditioned for an opening in UNTV. That was 2013. Yeah. So yun. And yun na. Yun ang ginagawa ko.
I
Galing,
love
galing.
it. Yeah.
Meron ka bang parang someone that you were idolizing kaya ka nag-go into journalism?
Before nung kid ako, wala. Basta I really, I could really remember lang talaga, I really want to do reporting, no? Even in class, yung pabibo tayo sa class, diba? So, laging reporting, ganyan-ganyan. But, along the way, you would somehow idolize people, no, in the field that you want to be in. Yung Amanpour, syempre, of course, Angelo Castro Jr., which I was blessed to, anong tawag doon? He became my parang father-in-law, ganon, ano. So I was really
Oh,
blessed na
wow.
nakilala ko siya, and kahit sandali pa lang niya ako nalaman na nasa broadcast, mga 2 years bago siya mamatay, he was able to, give me some tips and advice on, broadcasting. It was really proud of him. Really proud of me, no, during the time. So, yun yung mga, I think, the person that I look up to in this industry.
Nice, nice, nice. It so it says nga na you're a documentarist for the rights of the PWDs and
Mhm.
the VAWC. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, well, I'm a documentarist for all sorts. So, I do different stories. I also report on politics, but my documentary program right now, since we started to go almost 4 years ago na, it's called Historia. No, it celebrates us Filipinos, inspiring
Mm-mm.
stories that would, make you believe in goodness of others. No, lalo na ngayon na
Right.
puro negative na yung nangyayari, and you will see people na ay, mabait pala, no? May tao pa rin palang
Yeah.
ganito, no? There's hope in humanity.
For
And since I am an advocate for the rights of persons with disabilities as well as rights of women and children, I use my program, no, as my platform to help raise awareness on the things that I advocate. So by using my profession and becoming a voice for them somehow. And since I have media at my disposal, by producing documentaries and news reports on not only the living conditions of PWDs, but I want this platform to showcase the world that they too can be contributors to our society. No? Hindi lang sila yung kinakaawaan, hindi lang sila yung sinasabing dependent lang sa pamilya, but they're also, kasi you would see a lot of differently abled people in different industries, no? In sports, in politics, and in all sorts of industries, and you will see them excelling. So it's really an honor for me to celebrate their lives, their victories on my documentary program, and I do that also. Same goes with other advocacies that I do.
That's. I'm just interested to know, like, how are you doing the documentaries in the age of the pandemic, and how are they doing in pandemia?
Yeah. Alam mo, that's a good question. Kasi pre-pandemic, no, I would always boast ba or be proud to tell you na we'd go to the different locations, no? Kasi we like to immerse to the subject and feel ano ba talaga yung experience with them, kung ano yung sa location, and etc. And I want it really cinematic, yung aming documentary program. But it was really a challenge when the pandemic hit our country because, yeah, we cannot go out, we cannot shoot, diba, already. So what
Mm.
I did right now, we have to adjust, no? So what I did is that still I interview people, celebrate their stories through Zoom, via Zoom na lang ganito, and then I ask them to, give me video materials, photos, so that we could, edit
Mhm.
it and make it a whole story. And then I also created this, what you call this, a segment and Historia sessions wherein, I invite people and we talk about issues, politics, like this, parang ganito din yung Historia
Yeah.
sessions, no? In order to be relevant pa rin in times of pandemic. So I also do mga town hall forums for election, for the children, baka may mga questions sila about what's going on right now. So I invite mga psychologists, yung mga rightful resource persons for the different topics that we engage. So yun, that's how we cope, no? That's how we adjusted to the pandemic. Hopefully, I really miss doing outside location shoots, no? And immerse with my subjects. But right now, syempre, mas importante is our safety. So, ito muna yung gagawin natin.
That's true. Actually, same with me. Like I miss like doing
Mm-mm.
shows overseas rin talaga.
No.
I know like other countries have opened up already, so I received like
Yeah.
invitations to Milan and New York as well. But
Mm-mm.
it's so hard to operate, like here in the country and to
Mm-mm,
produce
mm-mm.
something and then make
Yeah.
travel fun and everything. So it's kind of
Mm-mm.
scary. So I'm like, okay, let's just wait it out first, maybe next year or
Right.
something. But
Pero
hopefully it'll get better. Yeah.
But yeah, but look at it actually, Victor, kasi parang a number of my friends who've actually experienced being able to travel during
Mm-mm.
this pandemic, like more recently, parang sinasabi nga nila talaga na parang when you visit the other countries, you really have like a different perspective um with the COVID situation. Kasi I guess in a way, in the other countries, they're able to manage it well. And then ngayon, parang I don't know, iba yung perspective nila in terms of as long as you're vaccinated, you do your precautions, you're likely still gonna be okay. But yeah, parang sa akin din yung in-explain siya sa akin, sabi ko, grabe no, parang baka nga, it's time also that we need to widen, I guess, what we see. Kasi parang we've been so,
Reevaluate
kulong
everything.
eh. Oo, masyado tayong kulong eh. Ang hirap, no?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But well, part of our reality also
yeah.
then right
And
now.
I guess kasi other countries are, richer than us. I mean, in terms of having the supply for vaccine, etc. And
Mm-mm.
I think it takes two to tango, as I would always say. Some people kasi pasaway here also in our country, diba? That they don't follow safety protocols. It's why up and down. But also at the same time, yeah, you're right that we really need to evaluate ourselves on how we deal with these things, and also the government, no? Like when you've mentioned earlier, bumababa yung cases, but that doesn't mean okay yon, because maybe it's
Correct.
aesthetics, because hindi naman din tumataas yung test that we do every day.
Correct, correct. And
Mm.
at the same time, I think the more important metric there is how stressed is our healthcare system eh.
Yes,
Kasi
exactly.
parang right now we're still at 'di ba playing parang 90-95%. So they're still super stressed. So I think
Mm.
that's parang the flip side of it. That's why in terms of the lockdowns kasi parang hindi ma-normalize yung healthcare natin.
Totoo.
Kailangan natin
That's
ma-normalize yung
right.
healthcare natin para
That's
maging
right.
mas okay din talaga tayo.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So, Angela, our topic for tonight is actually about strengthening
Oo,
connection.
iba yung
Iba talaga
napag-usapan
eh.
natin.
Pero it's very important kasi it's strengthening connection in the context of pandemic pa rin eh, no?
Yes,
Correct,
So,
totoo.
yeah,
correct,
but
correct.
in
Oo.
general, what does it mean for you to be able to connect with others?
Well, first for me, no, you have to evaluate yourself, as I mentioned also earlier. Kasi I'm sure you guys will agree with me, no. This pandemic had made us think through our lives, right? Maybe our career choices, family relationships, your well-being, most importantly. And this pandemic made us realize the true meaning of life. We began to eliminate things that don't really matter. We started to value relationships that are really important to us. And actually, we didn't feel guilty about cutting ties, right, with network or relationships that are toxic for us, no? As they would always say, learn to walk away from the things that are no longer making you grow. And this way you
Yes.
can focus on the things that really matter, diba? So,
Uh,
yun nga. So, how do you strengthen your relationship you think is valuable to you? In every relationship, I believe, healthy communication and trust are the most crucial foundation in order to have a harmonious relationship. And of course, above all, love, no? And now that we live in a world that we connect in all sorts of ways, we have Zoom, we have StreamYard, we have all those types of social media, which is number one to connect to others. But the question is, are we using this sensibly or is this just an empty connection? Di ba?
Correct,
Kaya
correct.
sabi ko
Yes.
nga,
Ganda
dapat
nun.
talaga cut ties na lang dun sa mga we find difficult to deal with. No? Because life is short eh. And as a journalist, life revolves around, my life revolves around communication. No? To be able to succeed in my line of work, I need to be able to rely on others for information. Life is the same, no? Involve yourself in society. The pandemic may have hampered it, but it should never be an excuse, no? We should find ways to get in touch with others. So,
Mm-mm.
yun, that's how building connections strengthen. That's my opinion on that.
Correct.
In terms of Angela,
Mm.
'di ba parang you mentioned earlier na ever since parang growing up, parang you've always wanted to be a
Mhm.
journalist.
Mhm.
Did you ever have like what is your bigger goal
After
in life?
journalism, yeah.
Or parang
Yeah,
is there like a big dream for you that you wanted to pursue?
yeah, gano'n. Siyempre you want to be in CNN, pero I don't know. Pero sabi nga nila, aim high, di ba? And of course, I remember I put in my yearbook, yung second choice. They asked that, di ba? First choice, yung
Mm-mm.
first plan, ganyan, if it didn't work out, I wanted to be an ambassador to somewhere. I want to, be able
Yung
to,
parang UN
talk,
ambassador to a
yung
certain
mga gano'n,
country,
or
gano'n. Okay,
diplomat,
okay.
yung gano'n.
Yeah.
And, yun, ganun lang. Yun lang yung naiisip ko, na naalala ko before the bigger dream that I would really want to do. And of course, syempre, to be able to travel, diba, with
Mm-mm.
the family. Ganun.
You mentioned your father-in-law mo was part of your support system in your journalism journey. Are there other people that you asked for support in this path of yours?
Yeah, kasi success naman, 'di ba, cannot be achieved alone. So of course, my family has always been there for me to provide balance and guidance in everything that I do. They are the ones who truly understand me with no judgments, no? They can see through me. Wala akong ligtas, alam niyo yon. But that's okay. Um, I'm more comfortable with that. Eh. And of course, I have friends that you manage to keep all these years, no?
Yes.
Um, I love low maintenance friends. I'm sure you guys you know what I mean by that, no?
Yeah.
Because we all have different lives. We have different schedules, and especially pre-pandemic, we don't normally see each other. Siguro we would see each other kapag Christmas, we get together, ganyan. But every time we see each other, kahit we don't really keep in touch as much as we can, as much as we do, there's nothing but love, laughter, and comfort in each other. So talaga you can say, oh, these people are my tribe, no?
Yeah.
Uh, and you can say that, this friendship is more than a decade already and it's a family already, no?
Mm-mm.
So, yun yung naisip ko na people that support me. The number of people that, involved in my support system.
Angela,
Right.
your husband is a journalist too, di ba? Like,
Yes, si
so
Diego.
how's that? You've watched Jaga before, Dar. So how's that like? How's he like as a support system for you? Parang okay ba na ano like same field? Kasi I know
Oh,
like
yeah naman.
some people na ayaw nila. You know that, di ba? Mga Dar
Ah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want. For example, if you're a
Everyday
lawyer,
na lang
if you're a
kasama
lawyer,
yung
hindi ka
ano.
na.
It just so happened kasi na, parehas yung line of work, no? Before he was a actor, then turned to chef, and now news anchor. We are together in a morning show every day, and I think that's healthy also kasi we get to engage ourselves in a healthy banter, no,
Mm.
na candid din, and people watch it, no, and how we work with each other, and somehow you understand each other, no, being in the same field, schedule wise, diba, and the toxic this profession gives you yung ganon. So somehow it, you as I've said, we understand each other. That's the plus point. of having to work with uh, your partner in the same team.
That's amazing. So why
Yeah.
is it
And
important?
then you have work friends pa that you get to work with stuff that problems or challenges, di ba, in works na they understand kasi they get you dun sa mga issues mo
Yeah,
regarding your work.
Mm.
So parang I feel that I have little tribes of
exactly.
of each type of person. You get what
And
I
you don't
mean?
have
And it's fun.
you don't have to explain yourself too much. Parang gets
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Correct.
So the
Correct.
audience
very
gets that.
important.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Dar, sorry, your husband is in the same in a different industry now.
Before, per actually, when around 2019, parang I needed help also with the business. So he
Oh,
actually, and then it was also the right time kasi parang nag-end na rin yung isang company that he was working with. So he joined me in the company kasi kailangan ko rin ng help when we were trying to grow also Viviamo. So
he's
I
the
get
VP.
what ano, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I get what Angela's saying. Parang mas
Yeah.
mayroong context eh. There's
Yeah.
less explanation. But
Yeah.
siguro on my ano, the challenging also is like paano kung hindi kayo okay tas then you have to show up for work.
And that happened too. But you know, you have to be professional, no?
Correct,
Set
correct.
aside yung
Exactly.
personal whatever that is that you're going through with that person and be there because people naman don't know what you're going through. Eh. So they're there to watch you, get information from you, you know. So show up and be there
Mm-mm.
as what you're needed to be.
Yeah. So I think our next question is ano for all of us, ito na yung phase na
Mm-mm.
for the three of us. Why do you think it's important we constantly parang invest in developing connections with other people? What do you feel are is the role of connection in terms of achieving your goals?
For me, it's really a large and enriching experience. Like I meet someone, and then like my friend from college. Um, Actually, like we were friends, but we weren't in the same clique back in college. And then
Mm-mm.
several years after, she was the one who connected me to MJ Suwayan, who happens to be a photographer for Vogue Italia. And then we're like,
Wow.
why not come up with a feature with for Vogue Italia with the Pia words back? So parang connect lang talaga. Eh.
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
and you wouldn't know like what one connection would actually lead you to. So parang yeah, so just like be kind to everyone, and
Mm-hmm.
you know one leads to the other, and you
Mm-hmm.
just reach your goal. What about you? What about you guys?
Yeah. Oh.
How
Shall I answer it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead,
yeah,
Angela.
I agree with you, Vic. No, actually, there's no specific playbook for that. Eh. It just happens, no, and you really have to be sincere in the connections that you make. No, if I may just share, it was such a blessing that I was able to connect with Women of the Future Southeast Asia. This program, if I may share with you, is to celebrate women from all over the world. No? So my advocacies mentioned earlier the rights of PWD, women and children, and of course, the hunger and malnutrition problem here in the Philippines. And actually, I was able to work with Save the Children Philippines,
mm,
and we did this program. We recently raised funds to help children with hunger and malnutrition problem. And I'm so glad that many participated and it was really successful. And Women of the Future has given me a platform to expand my network to help me with my advocacy. So it was really great. No? It was really great connections.
Mm-mm. Ako, I agree also na it's very important to connect with other people. Kasi parang, I think in the earlier part when I was younger, parang, medyo, hindi naman ako, parang I'm ambivert ba yun? Yung parang gitna ng introvert and
Yes, yes,
extrovert.
yes.
So parang in terms of parang meeting people, parang medyo mas reserved ako. But
Mm-mm.
parang, especially now, I think, parang even before, 'di ba, parang usually the relationships that you have are the ones that will help you sustain your business, your career. Kasi parang naniniwala talaga ako na no man is an island eh. Especially, 'di
Agree.
ba? Parang kasi if you keep on doing things, even if gumaling ka, and then you don't get the help of others, what will happen is just parang nandun ka lang, parang you feel like you have a ceiling but with
Mm-mm.
the help of like other people, like maybe mentors, coaches, or even yung parang friends of friends, ba, yung mga expanded networks, parang lumalaki lang yung, tumataas lang yung ceiling or like the opportunity. And I think that's really what's so important about learning how to connect with different kinds of people. And yun nga, in the past 5 years lang, I think of my life na mas na-maximize ko yun or mas nale-learn ko how to really network and connect with people.
Yeah. I also
Mm-mm.
like what the Angela mentioned kanina na parang connecting is very important, but it's also important for you to create boundaries. Diba? Kung toxic,
Mm-mm. Diba?
no, we're not gonna
Oh.
connect. Importante yan. What about connection in your business, Angela? You have how many businesses did you guys set up again? Like tatlo ba yun?
Um, Now, it's just an online business
Online.
about charcuterie. So,
Uh,
well, as mga business conventions that we've attended before, I follow that. No, you start with the core, which is your family, and then you involve the community,
uh-uh.
and then later on it will just expand without you even knowing it. So that's
Yeah.
how we did it. No, we've dealt with several businesses already before. Some thrived, diba? Some were successful, some didn't. But as the saying goes, it may be cliche, but it really works. Eh? You learn from those mistakes that you did in the past, and then you take that to be able to succeed in another business that you want. So we just try and try until you succeed,
Now
right?
you have to try yung jam ni ano.
Yeah, diba?
Sige,
Scrumptious.
sige, sige.
If this one didn't push through or didn't make it, diba? So okay, let go, move forward, and then do something else.
Yeah. At least you've learned from that.
Yeah.
Kaya di ba
Mm.
like what they say is you have to fail fast because you have to
Oo.
learn fast. Parang ganun yung ano. Thing.
Mm. Otherwise, you won't learn. If you think that you're always right and you're just in this box.
Yeah. So the next question that we have is what's your advice for the people who say that they're not a team player and they don't do well in working with people, or for those who don't like asking for help? Is it still important for them to build connections and ask for support? Kaya I love this question. Mga ano,
Thank you for that wonderful question. Ako ba magsasagot yan? Tayo lahat
sige,
Go,
naman.
go, yeah.
go.
Hindi, iniisip ko lang kasi, well, I don't want to judge, no? If they feel that they do well working alone, so be it, no? If they feel that they thrive without other people, I have nothing to say to them kasi to each his own, as they say, di ba? Kung dyan ka masaya, supportahan ta ka, as they would always say. But what I can tell you is that if there are times that you feel like drowning and you are exhausted with whatever you are dealing with, it's okay to ask for help, no? It doesn't make you less of a person. Believe that I believe that there are people who care about you and would love to help you if that certain stage in life, uh, diba, come across. So
Mm.
yun, I think yeah. So if you feel like solo ka lang, soloista ka, it's okay. I won't judge you, but yeah, it's okay to ask for help sometimes.
Mm-mm.
You know, I'm teaching now in DLSC and FEU, and we always
Right?
give an option for for
Mm-mm.
people to opt out of group work. Kasi
Really, that's nice.
Ah,
yeah, there are
talaga?
students who really have like a hard time
Yeah.
working in teams, and
Mm-mm.
I think it's also a function of the fact that hindi like it's sometimes so hard to meet pa rin in Zoom if they have like different schedules or so. Um, yeah, but I think given with our world right now, the way to cope with it talaga is to connect, to learn how to work with other people. Para rin yung costs mo would go down. Parang
Mm-mm.
ganun. Like speaking in terms of a business language, diba?
Yeah,
Ah.
business mind naman, business aspect. Mhm.
This
Sa,
aspect.
sa akin naman, parang feeling ko, if a person is not a team player and they don't do well working with people, siguro a coaching question I would ask is, why do you think if you are not a team player or that you don't work well with other people? Kasi parang feeling ko, usually, that statement na I'm not a team player or don't do well, parang there's parang a story behind it. A personal story usually comes behind
That's
it. At
right.
least based on my experience, na
Mm-hmm.
parang usually may kwento.
Mm-hmm.
And minsan, if we don't explore what's behind that kwento, baka naman there's something that we need to uncover or learn
Mm-hmm.
about ourselves. I mean, eventually, if you still choose to be a soloistas, as you
Yeah,
mentioned nga, diba?
yeah,
Okay lang, but parang at least understand where it's coming from or why, if ever. And then
yeah.
at the same time, diba, I think there was a quote na parang people who don't ask for help, parang it's also coming from a trauma response.
Mm-hmm.
'Diba? Na
Yeah, that's
parang,
why, diba, you don't want to judge people if they want to get help.
oo,
Yeah,
correct,
please
correct.
continue. Sorry.
Yeah.
Parang,
So,
go ahead, go ahead.
sorry, go.
No, yung
So,
parang may mga Superman mentality, di ba? Like they want to do
mm-mm,
everything. Normally,
mm-mm.
this is just my judgment. Sorry, judgment.
Mm-hmm.
My experience with the people like this is that they have abandonment issues. Parang so they
Mm-hmm.
want to be like independent. They've been independent ever since because the parents
Correct,
have been
correct.
away or so.
Yeah, yes.
So they just want to rely on themselves. So they're the
Mm-hmm.
ones who are having a hard time like reaching out. I'm not saying that it's true for a lot of people. Just based on my experience, people whom I've worked with may ganong thing.
Mm-mm. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, yung sa akin lang, if you understand siguro where that feeling is coming from, it might create a breakthrough for you personally. So I'm not saying it to judge or anything like that. Kasi ako
Mm-hmm.
personally, may ganun din ako eh. May super woman factor din yan na parang, no, I can do everything. Tapos parang you feel like if you cannot do everything, parang your self-worth is affected. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what I've been uncovering the past few years, that which is also difficult. It's hard to unlearn something and then learn something new na oo nga no, parang this is a new way of doing things. Oo nga, parang I should consider something like this. So I think
Yes.
that's why parang I think it's good lang to sort of understand also if you feel this way. I mean, where our audience today, if you feel this way, maybe you could also ask yourself like, where do you think this is coming from? And then maybe just journal about it. Yeah.
Yeah, using
Mm-hmm.
your
Totoo. Yeah, yeah. And
circle.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, what you mean, in my profession also in a newsroom, no one is an island there. You have to work with your team, in my documentary program also, there's a director, there's an editor, there's also overall staff. So you can move forward if you don't work well in a team. But yun, yeah, as I've mentioned earlier, like you've said, Dar, also, there's always a story behind it, no? But pagka pressure na yung work, saka na muna yung story mo na let's just do this job first.
Correct, correct, correct. Oo.
well,
Actually,
Angela.
ito, ay sorry.
Go ahead.
Sabi ni
Yes, yes,
Sai
yes.
na there are times that you'd rather do things yourself kasi there's no one else to blame but yourself. So, oo, parang coming from that, ano nga, di ba, Sai? Sai is one of our regular viewers. And oo nga, Sai, actually. Kaya nga minsan masakit, di ba? Kasi parang in a way, pag you ask help from others, umaasa ka eh. So minsan, di ba yung sinasabi nila, parang sa pag-ibig, di ba? Mahirap umasa. Masakit umasa. So, yeah. So minsan may ganun
Correct,
talagang
correct.
factors, no? Mm-mm.
So I think it's just a
Mm-hmm.
matter of really balancing din talaga. Na parang
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you need to
Mm-hmm.
know that there are people who are willing to help. But again, you don't necessarily have to rely on the other person entirely. In your
Mm-mm.
because you work with women and children who are victims of violence, Angela. Like how does it how's that situation? I mean, how can you tell them that it's okay for you to reach out or something? Especially ang alam ko like women who are in suffering from domestic violence, just keep it in for the children.
Yes,
Yes.
correct, correct,
Mm-hmm.
correct. Oo.
I
They don't reach
think
out.
yes, exactly. And the secret there is not to, you know, not to give advice, no, upfront, no. In terms of communicating with them, you just talk to them, hear them out, you just listen, and then so one way or another, yung advice that you want to give, lalabas naman siya. So you just don't push your advice right away. You just have to listen and understand whatever this person is going through. Sometimes it's also good that you cite an example, the things that the things that you've encountered before, yung mga ganon. So, I've worked with a home before, at the story that I featured. I cannot tell the name, ano. There's a house, they house children, women that were physically abused, no? So, but they were you will find it very inspiring, no, if you talk to them, because they're also they are now thriving with whatever they're doing right now in sports, in music, and in arts. And it's really good that there are programs like that, and you get to really touch base, with the experiences of these people. And somehow from that point of view, you can create programs to help them as well.
Mm-mm. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
so I love what you mentioned earlier that you just listen, and Dar also mentioned that you ask questions. So I think those two
Mhm.
things can be really powerful. Like ask a coaching
Mhm.
question, like where is it coming from? Generally for the
Yes.
awareness to increase the
Yeah.
level of awareness of the
Mm.
person you're talking to. So another question that we have here is how do you maintain your connections and how do you improve the quality of your current relationships? Oh, this is so juicy. So yeah, how do you do that, guys?
Wait, ano, may slight interruption lang ako. May question lang si
Mhm.
Sai Ai. Kasi since you mentioned about abuse, Sai Ai just asked, would you consider verbal abuse as violence?
Yes.
Oh yes, of
Anything that
course.
is, yes, anything that's part of the that's one of the a part of the categories of abuse. No, verbal abuse is also part of it. So yeah, we consider that.
Most
Ayan, sorry.
definitely.
Oo.
Mhm.
Sorry. So, ayan, going back na parang how do you build your support systems?
Yeah, and how
Ay,
do you
sorry.
improve
I
the
mean,
quality of your
yeah,
current
improving the
relationship?
quality of your current relationships. pala.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to maintain is to value, whatever connections you have. Keep in touch, but don't be annoying. Diba? Create or join programs to enrich this partnership. Do your part as well, ika nga. And in any relationship or partnership naman, I always think it may be cliche, but we've mentioned this earlier also. It's a two-way street all the time. It takes two to tango. No I in team, di ba? And this means you cannot
Yes.
expect a relationship that is one-sided only.
Mm-mm.
In terms of personal relationship naman, don't expect naman then also that you are always right, right? For example, you find yourself in a discussion, say about politics, then yung mga heated discussions, politics, religion, ano pa ba? Vaccine, di ba? Vaccine. Let's say, for example, one is anti-vaxxer and you are for vaccines, di ba? Sure, there are opposing opinions on this. There will be disagreements, but I think for me, no, this is my take on this. Don't dwell on it, diba? In such a way that it would lead to a fight. No, we're talking about personal relationship. No, you have to manage your tone. You can be passionate about the things that you truly believe in. As they say, you may raise your argument, but do not raise your voice. Because in the end, the aim of a discussion naman should not be victory, right? Walang kung sinong dapat panalo, but a progress, no? There should be progress. Were you able to convey the message? Were you able to fight from the things you believe in? Diba? Were you able to learn as well from the things that you have discussed? And yun, as I've said earlier, you have to learn how to listen also, because when you listen, you gain more knowledge. You understand more things rather than just talking, because talking, you're just repeating what you already know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you also, what we call this, you also keep in mind that is this argument is more important than my relationship to this person, 'di ba? Sabi nga nila, it takes superpower to engage in an argument or discussion without a fight. But yeah, if you can, live through that, believe ako sa'yo. And you really value the relationship more than being the right person or being always right.
Correct, correct.
Okay. Ang
Mm-mm.
daming quotable quotes si
Oo,
Abby.
ang daming quotable quotes nga eh.
Yeah, kasi when you listen to podcasts and you will absorb all of this, and it's really a good it's really a good template for your life, how to realize these things, diba?
Mm.
What about you,
Ako,
Dar?
ako very important, I think, like taking something from what Angela said in terms of about conversations. I think it's a very important that to improve the quality of any relationship, that you learn how to do difficult conversations. So
Hmm.
part of the difficult conversations are conversations wherein maybe both parties don't agree on the same thing, don't see the same
Hmm.
thing, but are able to have a proper conversation on it. So I think that's for me yung parang what improves the quality of the relationship. Parang it deepens kasi.
Yes. Hmm.
Kasi so I think in terms of parang maintaining connections, building relationships, it's important that you have that kind of level of honesty with each other, 'di ba? Tapos at the same time, syempre, how can you be honest if in the first place, ikaw, you don't really understand where you're coming from or where you stand, right, on certain things. So I think that kind of openness, trust, and honesty in a relationship would really help in terms of the quality of, and then, 'di ba, parang masarap din siya sa puso.
Hmm.
For me, siguro like just checking on where I'm coming from whenever I say something or do something. Like, is it coming from a good space? What's my intention for saying that? Or is it coming from an ego need, like an ego
Yeah.
need to be right, they need to look good, etc., etc. So
Mm.
you have to have that level of consciousness or awareness, siguro.
Mm-mm.
So yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so I think our next this is like our last question or so. Like we've been talking about
Second.
second, yeah. How
Mm-hmm.
do we build our support system? Mm,
Yes.
yeah. So how
Medyo
do we do it?
napag-usapan na natin ng konti. Or do
Mm.
you wanna be a bit more um, more structured ba?
With the support system?
It's always naman, 'di ba, parang, you figure out the people you need and people who need you. And as
Yes.
always,
People you need and
yeah. And as I've said earlier, do it with sincerity. Otherwise, yung support system na yan won't last long.
correct,
That's
correct.
true.
I think meron tayong mga let's just read some of the comments of our viewers. Sabi ni Rita, challenging din being a listener, nakakablanko. But God chosen you to become his leaning shoulder at that very moment when he needed you most. So I guess yun, pag may nagsishare, tapos medyo hindi mo, mabigat siguro yon. So sabi naman ni Sai, has someone ever told you, you listen but you don't hear me? Yan.
Oh, yeah.
Oo, 'di ba? Ito, medyo ano din 'to, na parang when we feel that the person listening to us is not really hearing what we're saying or
Mm.
the meaning, 'di ba, of what we're saying.
I guess it's a matter of empathy, right? Like being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes,
Mm.
and listen with an open heart, I guess.
Yeah.
I remember I talked to this psychiatrist before in one of our segments in our show, and he mentioned to us, if someone asks you for if someone asks you to listen, you just listen. You don't
Say
give
anything.
advice, right?
Mm,
Unless the person asks for it. If
Asks.
yeah, ask for it, no. Otherwise, kasi ang tendency daw, what we do, normally, we would um, talk about our own experiences. And
mm,
the goal of that discussion would lead to about yourself already, not about the person who's
yeah.
reading that.
Oh.
So that's what I
So na
realized.
hijack na yung conversation.
Yeah. Oo.
Mm.
Oo.
You know, it's
Ayan.
Angela, you should be a life coach. Bongga, love it.
Ayan, ito
Love
naman,
it.
sabi ni Rita, how do you calm down during and maintain a healthy argument among peers and family?
Ako
You
din.
breathe.
Oh.
Focus your breath. Hinga ka
Yeah.
muna.
Yun nga, as I've said earlier, di ba? You have to figure out or determine if this argument is more important than your relationship to that person, eh. Or yung pinagtatanggol mo na person, let's say for example, a political figure, kilala ka ba niya? Parang ganun kung pagtanggol mo siya, sobra. Diba? So you really have to balance, as Dick would tell us, no, the things that matter, no. You feel na importante, mas right ka dito sa pangyayari na to, so be it. Basta, at the end of the day, both of you will learn to just disagree, no? Kasi talagang, you cannot have someone with, always the same opinion as you have, no?
Correct, correct. Yes.
Parating there will always be opposing opinion. But just stay on the argument level, on the context, diba? Don't get too personal, as I've always say to other people. Kasi when you make it personal, you divert already the the topic, eh. So don't make it personal.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I love this question. We've been talking about building
Yeah.
connections with others, but how do we strengthen our connection with ourselves? Very dramatic.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Puro ka nalang iba, sarili mo naman. I mean, this
Wow.
time of pandemic, nauso yung self-care, diba? And
Yes.
yeah, nauso talaga yan. And I realize as we begin to mature, we really see things clearer, no? Unlike when we were young, especially during our time, di ba? I know naman magkakaising edad tayo dito.
Yeah.
Talagang, parang laging spur of the moment, no? Sige lang ng sige. But the time na when you have an own family or feeling ko mature ka na, yung ganyan, no? You see things clearer. And you find it very healthy for yourself to say no already. Kasi before, yes ka lang ng yes, but sabi nga nila, it's okay to say no pa rin. And that's one thing. Number two, if you're goal-oriented, push lang ng push with the things that you want to do. Diba? Knowing that pero you don't know along the way, you're already draining yourself. And yes, you want to be shark in the ocean, sabi nila, you want to be the leader of the pack, ganyan. But I tell you to be honest, I want to be candid with you. No? I allow myself also to be lazy. And ini-entertain ko yun. No? If this particular day, I don't want to do anything in my life, I just want to lie down and
Yeah.
watch Netflix, papatulan ko yun, no? Because that's for my well-being.
Self-care.
Yeah, because if I force myself to do things, then half-baked lang yung result, di ba? Of the
That's
things that
true.
I will do.
And it's so hard to take care of others, no, if you're not taking care of
Exactly.
Correct,
Oo,
correct,
exactly.
correct.
How will you take care of them if you don't take care of yourself?
them. I love it.
But yun nga, I know, I begin to, especially ngayong pandemic, no, you really have several realizations in life. And I nurture myself with a morning routine as much as possible. No, after my morning show, I would exercise, yoga, morning prayer. I listen to this app, yung Abide. I don't know if you encountered that already. Abide app. It features Bible verses and realizations as well. And then there's
Nice.
an option that you can write a journal, no, digital journal every day of the things that you reflect, no, the things that you reflect. So you can do that. But I'm also starting an actual journal kasi parang masarap pa na magsulat din, ano. I mean, these
Papadalhan
days
kita
they're
ng
all
mga
digital,
journals.
so ang
Huwag ka
sarap pa rin.
mag-alala. Papadalhan kita.
Yeah, kasi I find it yung parang grateful journal also. No? You find it very fulfilling that you write down all the things in your mind, no, on your mind. And parang feeling mo accomplished ka for that day. So, yun. And of course, syempre, as a parent, kasi, ito, I would always say that, no, as a parent, tao lang naman tayo, no? We also feel down, we also feel bad. But sometimes yung mga renewed COVID anxiety because of the cases up and down and,
Yes.
quarantine, tapos hindi naman ka-quarantine, yung mga ganun. No? So, you feel feel sad, no, you're anxious about what's happening, and you feel not for yourself but for your child.
Right.
Kasi okay na tayo eh. We've experienced this, no? I can say that na before we've done this and that. But for my child, I have a teenager, as I've mentioned earlier. Paano na siya, di ba? I would always think that, no? How is life for him, knowing that everything is controlled pa rin, everything is, you have to
Correct.
be safe, etc. And knowing him also that he's very sporty person, no, outgoing person,
Mhm.
and in this stage of his life where he is supposed to be exploring himself outside the world, but he cannot know. So I really worry about that. But I would always think to myself na I cannot be parang sad in front of him. I should always show him that I am a strong person, that we will all go through this. And yeah, and I think but kanina na mention mo, Darno, na you will see in your Facebook feed people are dying, no?
Correct.
Family members are in the hospital, and it's a never-ending cycle of loss na napaka-suffocating na nitong pandemic. And a lot of lives were lost, as I mentioned earlier. Even yung mga colleagues mo or yung mga people you don't know from Atom, you feel sad about it, diba?
Correct.
And
Correct.
whenever you
Correct.
open
Correct.
social media, you see those type of things, and tapos yung mga numbers pa ng Department of Health, no? It's really depressing. But I say, yeah, find your cope, no? You may want to hide, be angry, you want to be lazy, whatever, stare at the ceiling, ganyan, no? Whatever it is, let your emotions out, no? But at the end of the day, don't forget to come back. Yun.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
Yun. Ano
I
tayo?
love it. Ano
Mm-mm.
tayo? Para tayo may live coaching session with that
Mm-mm.
quotable quote. Ang dami.
Mm-mm.
Oo, diba?
Go Dar.
Ikaw, Victor, how do you strengthen the connection to yourself?
It's super funny because when you do like in Facebook, there's that memories thing.
Ah,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
remind you of the things that you posted several years back. Like, you cringe ako, in all honesty.
Ah, yeah, totoo.
Kasi na-realize ko, like, sobrang combative ko when I was younger. Tama yung sinabi mo, like, like, we look at things in a different perspective now. And before, we would have known that there's gonna be a pandemic. So,
Correct.
ibang iba.
Correct.
So, ibang iba rin talaga yung ano. So, I nourish my connection with myself by meditating. I try to have a routine in the morning too, especially now that I'm teaching. I have a 9 a.m. class. I wake up at 12 before, but now, I have to wake up earlier. So, I know, iba, I have to change things. And there is a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you,
Mm.
Dar?
Sa akin talaga, I mean, to be honest, parang one of the basic things I've realized during the pandemic na napaka-important sa akin talaga for self-care is really taking a bath every day. I mean, kasi 'di ba nung pandemic hindi ka na lumalabas. So parang meron talagang days that you don't take a bath na parang maybe every other day na lang. Hindi ka naman, so hindi ka rin naman nasa labas. So it's not like as hot, right? So, but I realized talaga that's a one important thing for me. And then one of the things then that I've practiced for the past 3 months is do one thing each day that is not goal oriented. So parang siguro it works for me kasi parang minsan I get so um focus or obsessed na parang kailangan mag-learn, kailangan ako mag-grow, kailangan kong gumanito kasi pandemic eh. 'Di ba yung parang merong
Yeah, yeah,
intensity
yeah.
na parang
Yeah,
to be better because it's challenging times, so we need to do this and to do that. So parang I had to flip that in terms of the opposite na there is one thing that I do every day that has no value for self-development whatsoever. Kasi parang that's my time for myself. That's
yeah.
the one thing na parang for myself, like you shared earlier, diba yung sa Netflix. So, may
Mm.
ganun ako na parang I'm reading like some romance novel or parang I'm watching some period K-drama. Gets as in ganyan na parang technically wala naman siyang value. Except
Yeah.
na parang nakaka-relax lang, parang gano'n lang siya. So, 'yun.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. And
actually,
it's
you think,
I
sorry,
go ahead, go ahead, go
you
ahead.
think wala siyang value, pero that's the, meron eh. It helps you with your manifestation.
Relax, relax nga,
Yeah,
parang wala akong iisipin.
clear your
Hindi ako
mind.
mag-iisip ng problema, hindi ako mag-iisip ng challenge,
Oh.
parang 'yun lang.
Oh,
Ayun.
But you
yeah.
wanted to say something, Angela?
Yeah, I forgot.
Sorry.
That's my mother brain is attacking right now. But anyway, but you said earlier you're taking a bath, no? At sabi nga nila, there are three types of taking a bath. Eh. One is that yung quick shower lang. Second is yung you will ano ba yun, shave, scrub, ganyan. And then third is the one that you think of your plans in life. You do that too.
Yes.
Diba? When you shower, you think all the things that you do. But yun, I remember na what I wanted to say. It's good that people are normalizing also yung mga small wins, ika nga. Kasi, in social media, it can be competitive arena eh, no? Hoy, si very successful, I should be, no, kabatch ko yan, dapat nito rin ako. But, as I've mentioned earlier, to each his own. If he or she is succeeding rather, at this point in time, good for her, cheer, diba? Cheer on him or cheer on her. But do not compete, no? You have your own pace, kumbaga. You will have your own success in your own time. So I guess para maalis yung toxic positivity na ibang sinasabi nila, it's just to, glide with your life as you know it. Because that's your life eh. You don't pattern it with others. Parang gano'n.
Correct,
I
correct.
love Dar Super ka-tribe natin to si Angela.
Yes, yes, definitely. Kabela tribe natin
Definitely,
'yan.
oo.
Ayan, ayan.
Bongga.
Oh, yan. So, I guess we'll just remind everyone na please do share your takeaway at go.bdj.studio/sign up, and ang daming takeaways that we got from Angela tonight, and of course Victor and myself. And I hope you guys enjoyed this third Wednesday of the month with Kandama and BDJ for the BDJ Learning Studio for Passion to Action. So don't forget to catch us again next month on November 17. And then next week, guys, mental health check-in natin sa Mind Nation. So, thank you everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Vic
everyone.
Angela.
and Doc. Thank you
Yes.
so much.